Hey there, welcome to the 30. This is Patrick, your host of the 30. We want to welcome you again on another Thursday, wherever you are, whether you are, say, in the morning, afternoon, evening, whether it's Thursday or Friday, or maybe Wednesday, but wherever you are, we want to say welcome to the 30. This is presented by the Jackman Group LLC. And again, I am your host. Today we have another exciting show. It gets better week by week. And our guest today is Makana. I think hopefully I pronounced that well. Risser Chai. And she is from Hawaii. And her company is Respectful WorkSpaces. Okay, I got that right. I didn't want to mess that up. So she is going to talk to us about training, learning, and development. She's also going to talk about her journey, and she's going to drop us with a lot of knowledge in the next 25 to 30 minutes. So stay tuned. I am going to bring her in. Just before I do that, if you want to check out our website, you can go to Jackman Group LLC. It's right there. And we are presenting the 30 every week. So I'm going to bring her in here and we're going to get started and learn more about her. And maybe we'll get a visit to Hawaii. So let's bring her in. Makana, how are you?
Wonderful. Aloha.
Aloha to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So give our viewers a brief background of yourself. They don't know you. This is the first time that they'll be seeing you and hearing from you. Well, not really, because some may know you, especially if they are on the islands of Hawaii or even on the mainland. But tell us who you are.
Yes, I spent half my professional life on the mainland. So I was born as Rita Risser in California and became an attorney and started my own business. But I was leading a stressful lifestyle and ended up in the hospital. So the doctor said, change your life or you will die. I'd always wanted to live in Hawaii. So I thought, well, if I'm going to die, I might as well die in Hawaii.
Perfect place.
I moved here 20 years ago, still going strong. But people wonder, how did I go from being Rita Risser to Makana Chai?
Okay.
And one of my old friends said when he first saw that name, he thought it was a new Hawaiian drink from Starbucks.
That's a good one.
And another classmate said, are you in the witness protection program? But what happened was I moved to Hawaii. My first week here, I met a native Hawaiian elder. And she adopted me into her family, which is a Hawaiian tradition. If you don't have family, that if you're lucky, someone will adopt you. And she adopted me, and a few weeks later gave me the name Makana, which means gift, because she said I was a gift to her family.
Awesome.
But a few minutes after I met her, she said, are you married? I said, no. She said, I have a son you should meet. And that's how I got the name Chai.
So she was setting you up all along. Nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey to where you are now. Then we're going to talk about your business and what you do and how long have you been in business. And then talk about, we're going to have a good conversation because I got to pull your brain out here and get some information so that I can learn and our viewers certainly can learn.
Okay, well, that's a lot. But 40 years ago, I started a law firm representing in Silicon Valley, representing employees who are women or minorities suing their companies for discrimination, harassment, and wrongful termination. And you know, even when I was suing, a lot of these managers, I felt they weren't evil. They were just kind of stupid. You know, I mean, they were ignorant. And then I just fell into the training world. I was at a Chamber of Commerce mixer, standing at the hors d'oeuvres table, and the Southern gentleman came up and asked me what kind of work I do. I said, I'm an attorney. And he said, what's a nice girl like you doing practicing law?
Nice.
So I gave him a big smile and said, I sue men for sexual harassment.
Oh, no.
And he literally ran to the other side of the room. But a few minutes later, he came back and he said, actually, I have a client that's looking for sexual harassment prevention training. Do you do that? And I'm like, sure, I can do that. I had no idea. But we became partners, and he taught me how to be a trainer. And that was the beginning. And then eventually I was able to close my firm and started a training company. And we have attorneys all over the country doing HR law compliance, unconscious bias, diversity, inclusion courses up until today.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, we met as a background for everyone. We met on a training, virtual events for virtual events. And we were all on Zoom, and I saw this person dancing during a break, and I'm like, why is she dancing? So that's our first meeting. And
well, there was dance music that was playing.
Well, yeah, it was dance music. Yeah. And then we have talked back and forth and exchange ideas, which is part of our strategic partnership, right? Is the exchange of ideas. But I'm fascinated by what you do, especially virtually, and I'm fascinated by the name Workplace, Respectful WorkSpaces. So tell us, what is Respectful WorkSpaces?
Respectful WorkSpaces is a training company, and there's kind of three topic areas that I train in. One is the one I've been doing for years, which is unconscious bias, diversity, inclusion, sexual harassment. The second is on stress management and relaxation, because as a result of the doctor telling me to change my life, I became a certified stress and wellness consultant, yoga and meditation teacher, Pilates teacher, and I taught for 8 years, and then ended up writing a book for busy executives, because I would tell people, you have to take time to relax. You have to take time to exercise. You have to take time to meditate. And they would laugh at me because nobody had time.
Sure.
So I wrote a book called Mindful Multitasking, Timeless Techniques for a Strong Body, a Vibrant Mind, and a Beautiful Spirit. And it's things you can do while you're doing something else. So you can stretch your hamstrings while you're brushing your teeth. You can do squats while you're waiting for the microwave, or you can do push-ups while you're waiting for the microwave. So it's using those little bits of time. So you can meditate while you're driving. Now, don't close your eyes.
Yeah, that would not be good.
But meditation is really just focusing your attention and breathing.
Okay.
So that's kind of
this. In this world of online, what are some of the things or exercises that we can do? Because we spend a lot of time in front of the computer online. We're busier than we have been in front of the computer.
Yes. Well, one thing we can do is sit in a straight chair, which I'm doing right now.
Yeah, me too. Go ahead.
But my back's not supported by the back of the chair. So now I'm having to use my abs and, actually have good posture. I'm not saying I do this all the time, but, I actually move between 3 different chairs throughout the day.
Okay.
And that, whether or not it's an exercise, it's really good to relieve your back, because if you sit in the same chair all day long, no matter how comfortable, your back's not going to like it. Another thing we could do, and I should have brought my weights in so I could demonstrate. I mean, I could be doing biceps curls right now and you wouldn't even know it.
That's true. That's true.
Right? Or you can take yourself off camera and do squats, push-ups, sit-ups. We can do all kinds of things during boring meetings that we couldn't do before when we were there live.
So you're saying I have to get rid of this chair then, huh?
No, just use that sometimes and use other chairs other times.
Okay. All right. So what other work have you done, especially what island? Now, many people don't know that Hawaii is made up of many islands, right? Because when people hear of Hawaii, they think what? One island, or
they
one
probably think I think they just think Hawaii is one island, and then depending on what island they know the most, they usually think of Kauai because it's the one that's been in the movies the most. Jurassic Park, Raiders of the Lost Ark. a lot of people think of the big island, Hawaii Island, because of the volcano that happened last year. So it got a lot of airplay. But I live on Oahu, which is where Waikiki and Honolulu are.
Right.
And we actually get the most number of visitors here as compared to all the other islands, which always surprises me because I go to Kauai or the Big Island for vacation.
Love the Big Island. I love the Big Island.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So how is business for you there? Or is most of your business there, or is it on the mainland where we are?
Most of my business is here. And actually, I did my first webinar 15 years ago and created it and then gave it to my company and they took it on. So I had not been doing virtual until December when I was asked to do something virtual, before the pandemic hit. And so I was kind of ready to go. And I've been thinking lately about, do I want to expand out to the mainland or worldwide? Because I can do it virtually. But I really like the Hawaii audiences.
Sure.
And there's the Aloha spirit. There's also the shared language. I can use Hawaiian words and people understand. And so I've just decided I'm happy here and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. But I'm doing it all virtual now.
Sure. So how has COVID-19 impacted your business, or has that passed, or is it still impacting?
We're on lockdown right now.
Oh, wow. You're still on lockdown, huh?
Well, it's new. We were in March and then we just went down last week,
Okay.
a week ago today. So I had a bunch of live sessions set and those all got canceled. And I went back to them and said, let's do it virtual. And they were like, no, we'd rather wait until we can do it live, but we'll see, maybe they'll decide to go virtual. And then I sold a bunch of virtual ones right before the lockdown. And then they decided they have to lay people off. So it's not a good time to do training. So what I'm doing is learning as much as I can about virtual. I'm on 3 committees that are putting on virtual conferences this year. I mean, this is all volunteer work, but it's good exposure. And I'm learning new things all the time. And it's paying people back, maybe
Sure.
paying forward, but the way I look at it is that everything that I do now is part of being a member of this community. And then for my community service, what I've been doing for years is working with homeless people, writing their resumes so they can get jobs.
Very nice.
And believe it or not, we place about 20 people a month in jobs, including since COVID started.
Wow.
So it's very fulfilling to be able to help people get jobs and get out of homelessness.
So how do you find your clients or customers from the homeless? Do they come up to you, or do you?
The homeless?
Yeah.
I work through the agency.
Okay.
That helps people who are homeless. So they have a whole program that includes getting them clothes, doing interviewing skills. I'm just this little tiny piece of it.
Got it. Okay. But a key piece.
Got to have a resume. That's
right. Now, one of the things that I learned about you in Googling you, in terms of your background, that you're a noted speaker.
I guess so. I joined a National Speakers Association in 1982 and became a CSP, a Certified Speaking Professional, and presented actually at their national conferences 26 times.
Oh, wow.
But when I moved to Hawaii, and I just, I traveled a lot when I was on the mainland, and I really don't like getting on planes. I mean, I'm not scared or anything, but I just decided I'm not going to travel to the mainland for NSA conventions. And then I just ended up dropping my membership. So that's why I don't advertise myself as a CSP.
Got it. Okay. All right. So talk about how your business have been transformed because of COVID, and where do you see your business going next?
today, I just signed up for the year subscription to Zoom. I was doing it month to month, and then you could save $48 or something. So I thought I'm just going to sign up for the year because I think we're going to be on Zoom or some version of it for the rest of our lives.
And I did that on Sunday.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, save us some money. Perfect.
Exactly. I just think it's so convenient. And it's so nice. And obviously, we want to get back together with our friends. We want to get back together with our family. We want to go to restaurants. We want to go to bars. All of that is in our future, I believe. But for the routine meeting kinds of things, why do we all have to get together? Why do we have to drive, pay gas, pay parking, and all of that? So I see this as something that's going to keep happening. As far as training goes, I would love to be back in the classroom.
Okay.
There's nothing like seeing people's faces and enjoying being with them. They're laughing at my jokes, and they feel more free to say things, to get involved,
Sure.
because I don't like one way. I like it to be interactive. So I actually just signed up to put on a conference next year, again, on a volunteer basis. And they're telling me they want a hybrid. And so I'm doing research on, so that's where some people would be live, some people would be virtual. And I've been asking speakers who've done that, what's that like? And the consensus seems to be, it's pretty horrible. It's better either to do all virtual or all in person. But my guess is we'll be doing hybrid by next year.
So you think that virtual is here to stay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not for everything, but for
Sure.
some things. And what's kind of fun, so I actually did an in-person session about 6 weeks ago, and everybody was masked and everybody was socially distant. So I really got my steps in because the room was like 100 feet long. And I was walking from one end to the other. And I'm just going to.
Looks like you were, okay.
Yeah, picking up.
You're breaking up a little there, but we should be okay.
Okay, hold on.
The joys of
all right.
being online.
Yes. So anyway, I was doing this in-person session, and because everybody was masked and I could hear them laugh. That was great, but I couldn't see their expressions as well. I took some of the things I've learned in virtual and brought it into live. So I said, like, put your thumbs up or raise your hand. So I think doing virtual will feed our live presentations, just as doing live presentations fed our virtual. And I think we're all going to be better trainers.
I completely agree, because one of the things that virtual has taught me was the power of engagement and making sure that your audience is engaged throughout. So that's a learning point for me, is making sure that throughout my in-person training that the audience is engaged.
Yeah, that's always been one of my big things, because I started out, doing HR law compliance training, and nobody ever volunteers to go to my sessions. So I had to figure out how, as soon as they walked in, to grab their attention and get them engaged and get them interested. And I literally, had managers. Well, at Oracle Corporation, for example, they've required their managers to take our program, every manager, for 30 years now. And every year we are rated in the top 10 out of the 500 courses that they offer.
Very nice. Wow.
And it's because it's engaging.
It's engagement. Yeah. Yeah. So Makana, what can you suggest someone wants to get into training, learning and development? What suggestions or recommendations can you give to that person?
Well, I think the best trainers are the ones who are subject matter experts.
Okay.
But then they have to let go in a way or move back from all that they know and come to it with what we might call beginner's mind.
Mm-hmm.
So in journalism, for example, they say you should write in a newspaper for a fourth grade education. Not because people are not smart, but it's easier to absorb. So when I worked for Oracle and Sun, for example, Sun Microsystems, we had Nobel laureates in the room. We had PhDs, but many of them, English was their third, fourth, fifth, sixth language.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I had a lawyer who was telling a story to the group, and she said, the individuals engaged in an altercation. I said, the guys got in a fight. So you want to use language that's, one or two syllables and that's visual. So that when I say the guys got in a fight, you can picture something. Whereas if I say the individuals engaged in an altercation, do you even know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I learned that one of my training and development managers, one of my mentors at the time, one of the things that she taught us was always train to the lowest common denominator.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb it down. You can always move up, but
right.
if you start high, it becomes more difficult to go down, right? So
yes, and I would like to point out that I often have found the lowest common denominator is represented by the CEO. And often the janitors are the smartest people in the room.
Yeah. Yes. Because the CEOs are normally removed and they think that they don't need the training and development. They think that not all,
right,
but a large majority of them, that they have arrived. But learning is something that is continuous.
Right. Exactly.
So what's next for you?
Well, I'm going to be on the board of our Society for Human Resource Management for next year, and I'm going to help put on the conference for next year. And I'm trying not to think too far in advance. I'm very lucky because my husband and I decided about 4 years ago to downsize. We didn't technically downsize. Our place is bigger, but it didn't cost as much. So we reduced our expenses. And so that's been a real blessing to have reduced expenses at a time like this. And so I'm trying not to, think about what the future is going to be because nobody knows anyway.
That's true.
And instead just say, okay, today I'm meeting with Patrick. Today I have a meeting at next, and just take it one step at a time.
Good. By the way, what time is it there now?
It's almost 2:00 in the afternoon.
Still on a Thursday, right?
It's still on a Thursday, yeah.
Okay.
It's right. Friday in Australia. So Australia is 4 hours earlier and a day ahead.
And one of my friends, he's in Guam, and they are ahead. Yes.
Yeah, they're a day ahead, yeah.
It gets all complicated based on who you're talking to on the time zones. So if you were to, and I'm going to throw a couple of the questions at you, but in terms of quick responses, okay? Let's go through this in, I would say 30 to 45 seconds. So I'm going to try to throw you about 2 or 3. If you were to do something all over again in your training and development world, what would you do differently? Go.
Nothing.
Okay.
I love all the mistakes I made because they've really helped to get me where I am today. So I'm really happy.
Okay, good. Let's see. Next one. If you were to move from Hawaii, where would you go next?
Ooh. We've talked about that because we are on an island, and with global warming and who knows what. But then I think about California, earthquakes and fires and landslides, Canada, cold, right. New Zealand, cold. So I have no idea.
You're in paradise.
Have to do it.
What's the last leadership book you've read?
Well, actually, right now I'm reading Wise Guy by Guy Kawasaki.
Okay.
He's the CEO of Canva. And it's not positioned as a leadership book per se. It's more stories from his childhood. He grew up in Hawaii, but wisdom that he's learned from all of these different stories. So it's a real easy read. And I'm really enjoying some of the things that he says, talking about integrity and honor and things that you don't always read about in a leadership book. The other book I'm real big on, I constantly cite it, is Multipliers by Liz Wiseman. And what I like about that book is she talks about how our strengths can accidentally diminish other people. So I'm using that in my unconscious bias training to talk about how our unconscious behaviors can make other people feel not included. So for example, if I'm an optimist and you come to me and say that you feel that you've been discriminated against, I might say, oh, you don't understand, or, oh, you must be misinterpreting. I would be putting you down because I'm an optimist about people.
Okay.
So there's 8 different ways or 10 different ways that we can accidentally diminish people through our strengths.
Got it. Is that similar to someone saying, I don't see color?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, exactly. But that's not a strength.
Right. But that's another conversation.
Yes.
Lastly, what is the best advice you were given from training and development?
Keep it short.
Okay.
Keep it short. Have lots of breaks. No, I think really probably the biggest, and this was random, is use humor. Use humor in stories. I learned that in NSA. I volunteered at my first NSA convention and got assigned to the humor track room to, hand out stuff. And just listening to those humorists, all of whom became longtime friends, that if I can make jokes that they're not about sexual harassment exactly, but that puts a funny light on it.
Sure.
And people laugh, it opens their minds.
Yeah. People learn best when they're having fun, right?
Yeah. And it's like Reverend Dr. Norman Vincent Peale said that everything can be funny, including a funeral. And I've had some of my best laughs at funerals. So I think that's the main thing. That's
great. That's great. Well, I want to thank you for this time. If someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they? And you can drop it later on in our comments line too. But if someone wants to get a hold of you, whether for speaking or training or to learn, get some wisdom from you, how can they?
So my middle and last name, makanachai.com, is where I have most of my information. And that's the best place to go. And my email is makana@makanachai.com.
Okay, Makana Chai. Awesome. Makana,
not a Starbucks drink.
And chai tea is my favorite too. So that's good. Makana, I want to thank you for this time. I certainly appreciate it. Every time I talk with you, I always get some nuggets of wisdom. So thank you. All the best. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you. And come back to Hawaii. Everyone, please, as soon as we're open, come back.
Well, we can't come back now.
No, but when we are open, please come back and bring your money.
I'll take you up on that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
So I'm talking with Makana Chai of Respectful WorkSpaces. A very insightful conversation. So again, if you want to contact her, I'm going to drop her information in the chat. This concludes another episode of The 30. We're going to try something, well, not try, but we're going to roll out something for all of our viewers, whether you're watching us live or watching us in replay. If you want to get a hold of us, we are going to put it in the chat menu, and we're asking you to subscribe to the Jackman Group LLC, because we have something that's coming up in 2021, and we want to make sure that you are part of it. So I am going to put the information as to how you can register for the Jackman Group and subscribe. And by doing that, you'll be eligible for either one of our caps or a 15-minute coaching consultation. So look in our chat, or you can contact us, and you will get more information as to how to sign up and make sure that you subscribe and be part of our tribe. Well, that concludes it. I want to thank you for another wonderful episode. Next week, we have an owner, an operator, an entrepreneur. So we're going to talk to him next Thursday, next week. So you don't want to miss that. So until, be safe, enjoy your week and the weekend, and may God bless you and your family. Thank you for watching.